Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizing committee for asking me to contribute to the AI for IA conference. It is great to see the different work done by various actors on artificial intelligence, specifically on information accessibility, which is a key piece in various sectors to promote development globally. So this year, one of the conference's themes that make the implications for artificial intelligence understandable and relatable to the widest cross-section of people is that one of AI and war. I would therefore like to look at this theme, but from a different lens of opportunity, and talk about the convergence of AI and peace building. So I'm going to take you on a journey to 10 years back and bring you up to speed to where we are today. So a few years ago, the peace building community began looking into the digital space after the dynamics of violent conflict began to shift. What was once an offline affair began switching to online spaces. For instance, the use of digital platforms to spread hateful and dangerous speech towards vulnerable groups, or misinformation and disinformation to manipulate key high-stake societal events such as elections, meant that harmful information went out much faster and reached a larger population that could catalyze violence quickly. And we saw this in the US, we've seen this in Kenya, we've seen this in Ethiopia, in South Sudan, and we've seen this in different countries and in different contexts across the globe. So with this realization, many actors try to explore the digital space and look into digital platforms such as social media, blogs, websites, video platforms, and SMS to understand what was happening and how that was affecting the offline space. But there were no tools to conduct effective exploration of this space in relation to peace building needs. The tools that existed were commercial tools used to monitor brand health, marketing campaigns, and product opinions. There were no tools to understand which topics were the most contentious online, or generated the most misinformation or hate speech, or which actors were discussing which topics that had hate speech, and which conflicts or which conflict events or topics generated the most negative sentiments or the most positive sentiment, and how the interplay between the offline and the online was happening. The information was there, but it was not readily available to peace builders, and it was also not readily accessible. So that was 10 years ago. Today, a lot has changed. Today, we have AI tools readily available on our mobile devices. However, most of the use cases are not still readily available to be adopted by peace building actors. So one can argue that you can use AI to analyze peace building data or conflict data, but still, we don't have specific AI tool built to support peace building actors, or if they do exist, they are very, very few. That is why my organization, Build Up, decided to combine the power of artificial intelligence and the knowledge and experience of peace building work to develop a technical process that applies machine learning and artificial intelligence to gather, tabulate, and analyze data from digital platforms and conflict events to understand conflict trends better and make this information accessible to peace builders, who can then deploy the interventions and also monitor how this affect violent conflict and ultimately prevent a crisis that can easily lead to war. So I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek of the process which we call Phoenix, and just so you can get an understanding of what this looks like, and if you're thinking of how artificial intelligence can be used for peace building, right? All right, so here we have, this is a demo dashboard and built on one of the open source platforms. And what we're seeing here is basically Facebook and Twitter data. And the tool can gather data from social media platforms and offline conflict data. And this is just an example of Facebook and Twitter, but you can, if you have YouTube data, TikTok, Instagram, any other social media data, we can also collect it and also look at how people are engaging in relation to other events that are happening offline. So this is a summary of the data that is coming in. This is just a landing page. It shows you the summary so that you have an idea of what's happening in the space. Who are the actors, who are the speakers, which are the topics which are trending. And here we see what the AI does. It takes the information in, and then it assigns the information a particular topic so that you are able to make sense of the social media data, because it's quite vast. So like we've seen here, Twitter has already 1 million tweets. So trying to make sense of what are all those 1 million tweets about, then for instance, that majority of them are foreign countries. So that's a topic that the artificial intelligence assigned this particular data set. And then you're able now to see the posts that are most shared by a particular topic. So if you are interested in a particular topic like elections, like environment, like education, if you want to see what people are sharing on that particular topic, the AI will also show you particularly that, and you're able to see if there is misinformation or harmful content within a particular topic. And then scrolling down very quickly, this is just a trend of the data showing you over time, but the system also pulls in the offline data and then maps it on top of the social media data so that you can able to see the interplay between offline and online. So that when there is a particular event that is happening offline, you're able to see what people are saying in relation to that event and see whether you need to intervene or not. And the AI also shows you where there is those particular engagements when it comes to the sentiment. And then the offline data is also mapped onto the geography where it's from. So for instance, this is Lebanon data. So if you want to only filter by riots, as you can see here, and battles or protests or any other field strategic development, violence against civilians, you can do that and you're able to see which areas have the most cases of that particular type of harm. Then another place where the AI shines is also on sentiment analysis. So here, what you see is it takes the data. So this is just an example. This happens on both Facebook and Twitter and any other data set you have. But what it does, it assigns the data set a sentiment and the topic. So you're able to know which topic is generating the most sentiment on a particular sentiment. So for instance, if you have a sentiment of negative, you want to see which topic generates the most negative sentiment. So for instance, if I just filter here, if I remove mixed, remove null, I remove neutral, I remove positive, I already see that offensive language is generating a lot of negative sentiment. Smuggling is also generating a lot of sentiment. Police state, refugees, Assad regime, Zionists, and Syria and all that, and arrest and crime and environment. So if you're also looking into this data set, you're also able to see which topics generate the most negative sentiment, and within that negative sentiment, then you're able to unpack elements of hate speech and misinformation. And also just to mention that this does not only relate to peace building work. As you've seen, there is also some topic on environment. So if you're working in different spaces, because all these elements affect the cohesion of society. So you also want to see if you're working in the environment sector, this can also be useful for you to see what are people saying about the environment that is negative, and how can you intervene in those spaces. And this happens both on Facebook and on Twitter and in your social media platform. And then beyond that, you're able to see over time which dates generate the highest negative sentiment or the most negative or positive sentiment, for instance. So if I remove negative, positive, and I want to see what is happening on this particular day to generate the positive sentiment. And this goes on also for Twitter and for Twitter. One other thing for Facebook, we're able also to look at the emojis, for instance, and people say do not put a lot of weight on the emojis, but it's also just interesting to see, for instance, which topics generate the most angry emoji. And when you have this, then you're able to look at social media a bit more differently, because then we're able to see the environment comes back to what we said earlier, is generating angry emoji, and also reproductive and sexual rights also generating the angry emoji. So you might also want to dig further and see what that is all about. Then beyond that, we also have the network analysis, where you're able to analyze the different networks on social media platforms and see which networks are discussing a particular topic. Who are the actors within those topics? Are they spreading misinformation? Are they spreading hate speech? Which topics appear together when you see arrest and crime and foreign countries? Why do they appear together? So all these are elements that help you understand and make sense of the digital space. So if you can see here, Twitter topic and actor network shows you which actors are discussing which particular topic. And then you can start to see that there is a group of actors that are particularly talking about one particular topic, and that particular topic is generating a lot of negative sentiment, and that negative sentiment also has it. But you're able to drill down, and the benefit of having AI analyze all this data for you is that it just makes you ask more questions, and then the AI can give you the feedback as you are playing around with the filters. And then you also have the raw data. For instance, if you want to play around with the data in use another artificial intelligence tool, you can also just take this data and send it over to another AI tool that can help you analyze it in a different manner. All right, so what does that mean in terms of peace building work? So it just means that there's an opportunity for us to use artificial intelligence to start analyzing these spaces, both the offline and the online, not as separate spaces, but as one continuum. So Phoenix itself was developed by and peace builders for peace builders, working in contexts where the digital space plays a significant role in advancing violent conflict. We are now seeing a move towards digital peace building in different countries, where peace builders are now deploying peace building approaches online to prevent online violence. So with such tools, it becomes a bit more possible to realize that idea of the digital peace building field. However, Without the tools to effectively navigate the online space and understand the difference between the online and the offline conflict environments and their interplay, it will be challenging to address online violence, and peace builders would be left with tasking online influencers, as we've seen in different contexts, to solve complex peace building problems, which, as previous cases have shown, is not effective. So this just shows that there's a lot of potential, even when people are talking about artificial intelligence for war. There's also this other side that is also taking shape, where peace builders are now adopting peace building artificial intelligence tools in order to address violent conflict that, if left unaddressed, can also lead to wide-scale war. Thank you very much.